Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Means he is the spiritual ambassador from the spiritual world to deliver the fallen souls of this material world. And he had came in this world as the son of Gaurmande and Rajani Devi, and he was born in the year 1896. And his very birth itself proves that how he was very much a great exalted personality. Once during the age of 2 years only, his father Gaurmande called one astrologer to find out the future of his very dear son Abhay. So ultimately the astrologer, looking at the forehead and the palms and his jatak, he told that this boy at the advanced stage will create a big revolution in spiritual fields, and he will open 108 branches all over the globe. In this way, his father was very much delighted to hear about all these things of the future of his dear son Abhay. Ultimately, he took care of his son, and was basically, although he was a Vaishnava and Rajani Devi was also Vaishnava, they are very much focusing on the Vaishnavatic attitude of Abhay, and they had practiced, they had just trained him in that way so that he will become very good Vaishnava in the future. Accordingly, Abhay was coming to Mr. Malik's Radha Krishna temple along with his father, and looking at the worship of the deities, he asked his father to give him a deity so that he can worship regularly in his house. Listening to Abhay's this request, his father Gauramande immediately arranged one small Radha Krishna deities in his house, and Abhay was worshipping the deity as per the rituals or as per the systems in Malik's temple, Radha Krishna temple, and his father was also guiding him. In this way, he was very much enlivened to see that his son Abhay is very much inclined to his deities Radha and Krishna. Ultimately, when he was going to school, father was guiding him so that he will not be with the bad association of other boys. Although others are reading in his schools, studying in schools, but he was very much fond of cycling. He was very much inquisitive about this Sanskrit. He was about also very much inquiring about different philosophical questions. He was also very much in Parsi language. In this way, he has some certain different extra curricular attitude to different religions and scriptures, and he was very much concerned for this thing, how he can acquire all this knowledge of this science, astrological science, mathematics, and this Parsi language, philosophical discussions with others. In this way, he was very much advanced in that way. And ultimately, when he was reading in Christ Church College, at that time he was meeting Subhash Chandra Bose, because at that time it was a pre-independence day period of India. So Subhash Chandra Bose was leading a students team for this independence of India, and he was the senior batch to Abhay, and Abhay was very much influenced by the personality of Subhash. Thereafter, Abhay was getting association with Mahatma Gandhi, who was taking a leading role in India's independence non-violence movement. And once a period he was so much influenced that he was determined to not to receive his degree course, and he will join with Mahatma Gandhi for the independence of the previous Indian subcontinent. Ultimately, when he was 20 years of age, the third year of his degree course in Scottish Church College, his father Gauramande had arranged his marriage with Radharani Datta, who was a Banik Parivar, and she was very much helping Abhay in his study. After his finishing of BA graduate course, Abhay was interested to go to Puri Rath Jatra and to see Supreme Lord Jagannath at Puri. At his age 6 years, he heard that, he saw in Calcutta there was Rath Yatra, in Puri there is Rath Yatra. So he was telling his father, please arrange a cart, chariot, so that I can pull the chariot on this our Harrison Street. But father told it's not possible. To have a chariot means you have to bring the carpenter, woods and fix it. Time is not so much and we can do it later on. But always crying and rolling on the road itself, for which he was not trying so much to convince his son, but no way it was possible. It was not possible. Ultimately, a neighbor lady who saw was crying, he asked Gauraman, why your son is crying? And he is asking for a chariot to make Rath Yatra of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra Devi. So the neighbor was very much impressed with this boy's demand and immediately called both father and son to her house, and gave them their broken chariots, which afterwards was repaired by both father and son, and they made chariot procession and Rath Yatra that year. And Abhay called his all neighbor boys, small friends, and he was leading kirtan with Mridanga, and his friends are just also following him. And the neighbor ladies, they are preparing different varieties of cakes, sweets and everything to be distributed in procession to the visitors. Ultimately, Gauraman was very much pleased that his son is so much having inclination to Supreme Lord Jagannath. And after his graduation, Abhay went to Puri and he stayed there 2 days, 3 days, saw Supreme Lord Jagannath and saw the Lord's different aratis, prasadam at Ananda Bazaar, and ultimately came back. Thereafter, he just was interested to just not to receive degree, but his father being influenced by Gandhi, so his father convinced him that his life is to be guided in such a way that he will become a pure Vaishnava in his spiritual life. He does not want that his son should be a politician. Ultimately, he persuaded him not to come to this non-violence movement of Mahatma Gandhi, and he has to accept his degree course. So he accepted his degree from the college, and thereafter Gaurmande intimated his friend Dr. Kartik Chandra Bose, who is supposed to be a very good boyfriend from the childhood friend of Gaurmande. He has a laboratory, his name is Bose Institute of Laboratory. So by the request of Gaurmande, he appointed his son Abhay as the manager of that laboratory, and Abhay was working very sincerely there, and Dr. Bose was very much pleased with him. Ultimately, Abhay thought, why I should not have my own separate one pharmaceutical some business. Ultimately, he thought it to start in Allahabad. Although he initially made some steps at Calcutta, still he shifted himself to Allahabad and he started their Prayag pharmacy. And there he just made his own medicines, and he was himself moving by train to different areas of all over India to make his marketing and make a good distribution of his own productions. And he was getting good result out of it, and it was so much having good name that years long it was continuing. And in between, Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Vishwanath Pandit, in this so many persons are coming to his Prayag pharmaceuticals to purchase different medicines, and he has certain time to just meet with them. In this way, he thought to just start a movement so that youngsters will join in this spiritual movement, so that future of India and future of the world will be very much satisfactory. So in Jhansi, he started a organization called League of Devotees. Invited locals, maybe of age, more age or advanced age, but people in old age are coming more, and he was discussing with them about the Gita and Bhagavatam. Ultimately, when he came back to his Calcutta house, Harrison Street, within 1922, at that time, little because of his touring, because of his absence in the factory and his shop, his workers are not cooperating with him, and he is a little bit disgusted with them. He thought, I will definitely face a terrible loss of my business. When he was in that thoughtful mood, sitting in his Calcutta residence, at that time one Malik's friend of him came and invited him, please come. In Ulatadanga we have a guest, very big sadhu, and we can meet him. He told, Hare Baba, I know most sadhus came to my father's house during my childhood, I know. Actually he saw them sadhus, some are with ganja, some are with some other habits, some are dirty clothes, some are having mats and long hairs, some are not so much with the principles, some are not properly chanting Mahamantra, because he had a past experience of it. So he told, I know those sadhus. No, this particular sadhu has some very good charming effect, and he is very special one. Please come, at least for a few moments. By the urge of his brother from Malik family, Abhay went to Ulatadanga, where he met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, a tall, sound figure, sitting straight and talking to his guests and gentlemen and visitors. At that time he was waiting, and ultimately Abhay and his friend, Malik family friend, brother, they both were invited by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati to come to them. And they went to upstairs and met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati there, was very grave, sitting very straight, and he was very lean and thin, very tall personality. So he was asking Abhay that young people like you should come to this Krishna consciousness, because world is moving in such a way that you youngsters can save the direction of the world before going to destruction to its correct path. So I hope you will join definitely with Krishna consciousness. So Abhay immediately answered, of course you are true, but who will accept your Krishna consciousness when India is not having its independence? So immediately Bhaktisiddhanta the grave voice told that Krishna consciousness is so much important for everybody that it does not want the India's any country's independence or not independence. It is a top priority for everybody. So everybody should accept Krishna consciousness. That particular word was very much impressed to Abhay, and Abhay was very much just feeling that actually the words of this sadhu is touching to his heart. From that moment he accepted Bhakti Siddhanta as his divine spiritual master, and ultimately he had listened some of his speech, lectures, and how depth of his spiritual philosophical discussion he could have easily judged it. And ultimately in the year 1932 he became the formal initiated disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. His name was Abhay Charanarvinda Das. He was Abhay Charanade, so his name was Abhay Charanarvinda Das. Thereafter Bhakti Siddhanta told him that you should preach this science to whomever you meet, and print our books into English language, and preach almost in all over the world, in Western world, in Western language. Ultimately Abhay made it a point in his life to follow the instructions of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and print his books and spread it all over the globe. In the year 1936 he met Bhakti Siddhanta at Radhakund, and Bhakti Siddhanta repeated his words, preach the science of Krishna consciousness in Western world, in Western language. And this was his last instruction to him, which he thought it is perhaps the desire of Supreme Lord Krishna. Ultimately, because he was not so much mindful to his business, the workers in business, they just sold out all the machineries, the medicines, and all the other infrastructures, for which Abhay faced a terrible loss. And he thought perhaps the desire of Supreme Lord Krishna, who told that Jasyang Anugrunnami Haritye Harishyat Tadhanang Sanai Swajjana Dukha Dukhita. So it is perhaps the blessings in disguise. So Abhay gradually thought to shift his business again to Calcutta, and there he, along with some family members, started a small business just to maintain his family. And he has ultimately, wherever he is moving, he has all his connection with Gaudiya Mats, going there, serving them, leading kirtan, giving pravachan, if possible doing some collections for them, and this way he has very much association with Gaudiya peoples. They also liked him very much. In one of the Vyasa Puja occasion of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he wrote 2 articles, one in prose and another is in poem. Both the articles were just, he was in Mumbai, so all his articles were sent to Bhakti Siddhanta at Calcutta, where his Vyasa Puja festival was observed. And seeing both the articles, Bhakti Siddhanta very much impressed, seeing the depth of his knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So he ordered the editor of his Sajjana Tushani Patrika that these 2 articles of Bhai should be printed in our regular Sajjana Tushani magazine. And afterwards, looking at these lectures of Bhai and looking at his speech, ultimately he just so much convinced the Gaudiya Mats sannyasis and the members, they awarded him Bhakti Vedanta title. And onwards he was known as Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Prabhu. In this way, time passed, and in the year 1936 itself, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati left this planet, and he, before that, 15 days before, Abhay personally met him and asked him about his service. The same repetition of the instruction, preach this science of Krishna consciousness in Western world, in Western language. He thought perhaps it is the order of the Guru and it should be followed up accordingly. Guru Mukha Padmbakyo, Chitete Kariya Ikyo, Ar Nakariyo Mane Asa. Ultimately he prepared himself. At that time he got some children of him. At the age of 1965, before that he was also prepared to leave his home, and he was waiting to take sannyas. And in the year 1965, he just started his movement, and in the age of his 65, he took sannyas from his god brother Keshav, Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Maharaj. So Keshav Maharaj gave him sannyas, and his name was Bhakti Vedanta Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami. So now his preparation starts how to go to Western countries with Western language books of Bhakti Siddhanta from Bengali to English. In between he went to Kesighat, the Radha Krishna temple was there. He was printing Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 3 parts into English, and there in between he spent there 7 years. Thereafter he came to Radha Damodar temple. He stayed there and printed the same books very nicely and made the proofreading and prepared his final printing of those 3 volumes of first canto. Thereafter, in between also he went to Delhi Chippiwada, where is ISKCON has his own branch now. There he was regularly printing this monthly periodical, Back to Godhead. Very much a hazardous job. Old man, moving himself by simply walking, scorching heat of the sun, and his hand was reeling. Still he was determined to go to the press, to make the proofreading, to make necessary corrections of the magazine. When the magazine was prepared, he just himself distributing in that hot season of the Delhi atmosphere to the public. Even nobody was taking, although it is a free of cost presentation, nobody wants to accept it also. Sometimes some bulls were attacked him, for which he was falling unconscious on the footpath of that Delhi street itself. So much is the pain he was facing during all these publications also. And when gradually time passed, he thought how to go to the Western world to preach the science of Krishna consciousness, as was the desire of his divine spiritual master Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Ultimately, he got the information that Jaladut, one cargo ship from Calcutta, is going to United States of America. It was not so easy at that time to go to United States. Neither he has visa, passport, nothing. So ultimately he searched from this Jaladuta staffs that the headquarters is at Mumbai and the proprietor of Jaladuta, the Cynthia Navigation Company, is Sumati Morarji, quite elderly lady, and is always in her job, busy with jobs. So Abhay went to Mumbai, Bombay to meet Sumati Morarji. The day he went to meet Morarji, Srimati Morarji was busy with some official works, so Abhay was forced to sit at the stairs to his office for continuously 7 hours chanting with his beats. And one of the staff of Srimati Morarji informed, Madam, one sadhu is sitting on the stairs to the office for long hours back to meet you. Now ultimately Srimati Morarji called Abhay, and Abhay went there and expressed his desire that he wants to go to Western world to preach the science of Krishna consciousness in English language as per the desire of his exalted spiritual master, His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Because of his age, he was at that time age of 64, 65. So Sumati Morarji advised him that you should not go in that sea journey, because you are an old man, you may be with some sea fever, you may be some heart attack, so don't expect that journey in this age. But Abhay was so much determined. Immediately told, if you not arrange, I can do somewhere else. So Sumati Morarji immediately decided better to give the chance to this most aspirant soul of his divine spiritual master. Thereafter, she arranged his visa and permission and booked a seat in this Jaladuta ship, and specifically instructed Captain Pandya, the manager of the team of that ship, Jaladuta ship, that should take care of this old man specifically, and he should not feel any way to be disturbed during journey. Then in the year 65, Abhay or Prabhupada started his journey to United States of America, and he was in his room and he was reading this Bhagavad Gita and praying to the Supreme Lord to be successful in his attempt. And when there was a heavy heart attack on his body during that journey, he totally was in a very unconscious state. He could not understand what was going on. And Mr. Pandya was well informed, and he thought how this gentle old man can reach America in this Atlantic Ocean journey. So ultimately he showed his sympathy and took care of him. When Prabhupada was in his little unconscious stage, he was immediately came to his senses when he had got a divine touch of Supreme Lord Krishna, who was of age 7 to 8 years. He was touching Prabhupada's body from his head to tail to his toe of his finger of the legs, and he was just consoling him. Prabhupada, don't be disheartened. Definitely will be successful in your journey, because you got the mercy of your spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. After all, my mercy is also with you. And ultimately the weakness of Prabhupada vanished. He felt as if he was a very young man with full determination, and he with full vigor he wanted to start his programs. After he reached at United States of America, he faced lots of problems, because no residence was there, no proper arrangements were there, and he was old man, no known persons are there, not sufficient money with him, and Krishna is his only friend and Guru is his only friend. And when he met Gopal Agrawal, who had just a son of Mr. Agrawal from Mathura, and Prabhupada got a letter of recommendation from Mr. Agrawal from Mathura to his son Gopal Agrawal. So Gopal Agrawal immediately took care of him, and he just took him to his house at Pennsylvania, and there he just gave his room, and Abhay was very much fresh and planned accordingly. But if it was a very small room, that Abhay was shifted to YMCA building, where few months he spent there. That way he came to Dr. Mishra's laboratory, Yoga laboratory. That was unsuitable for him, because Mr. Mishra was not interested for this philosophical discussion of Krishna consciousness. He was rather interested for mystic yoga system. So Prabhupada staying few days there, left that place and inquiring for his own. Ultimately, he got 26 Second Avenue as his place for his preaching and for his activities. And ultimately, when he got that place, he just started his first preaching center in New York City, which was accepted as a spiritual center of Krishna consciousness. Ultimately, he visited regularly the Tompkins Square Park. There he just chanted the holy name, which is the only process of deliverance in this age of Kali. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyatha. In Kali Yuga, it is the only means, the holy name and the holy name and the holy name. No other means, no other means, no other means. So, with that faith, with full dedication at the lotus feet of his divine spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami went to Tompkins Square Park, where he was just chanting the holy name with his small kartal. When he left India, some volumes of first canto Bhagavatam, 3 parts in English, 1 kartal or brass plate, and 40 Indian rupees as his only asset. With that kartal or brass plate, he just chanted the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. In this way, he just attracted the young crowds from that park. Because the Americans, they are very much crazy because they are young, hippies and drug addicted people. They are moving here and they are naked, everything. So they thought, who is this guy coming with saffron and bald head and chanting some mantras? Let us go and enjoy, because enjoyment is their only way of life. So they came and they just moved around Swamiji. Although they are not able to utter the holy name clearly, but in a faltering voice they are telling ha ha ha, kru kru. In this way they just moved around the Swamiji, and with dancing posture, they just intoxicated mood, they just try to follow Swamiji. In this way, a regular practice of following Swamiji for next 5 months, they became the followers of Swamiji. And Swamiji arranged the Sunday feast. We call the feast, we call the Sunday fest at Tompkins Square Park, where Prabhupada just taught them how to start Indian style of cooking. And he was very much expert because he was Bengali. Different these varieties items to prepare, and cuisines, Krishna cuisines. So immediately started and trained of them, and every Sunday some visitors, some local peoples and some of these followers, they are gathered, and after a small kirtan, Prabhupada explained them about the meaning of Gita. What is Gita? Who is Krishna? How Gita was spoken to Arjuna? What is the purpose of listening Gita? How it has effect on human being? In this way, Prabhupada gave some preliminary instruction to them. Thereafter, he disturbed them with that nice Krishna Prasadam. And if you ask any of the devotees now how they came, they will most of the day that we were attracted to Srila Prabhupada's Prasadam. This Prasadam and Krishna is non-different. Gita and Krishna non-different. Name and Krishna non-different. Krishna and Krishna's pastimes non-different. In this way, Krishna is divine and spiritual, and his name, his qualities, his endeavors, his prasadam, his literature, everything is non-different from him. Ultimately, Prabhupada fixed 1967 Janmashtami day to initiate some of his disciples, and by scrutiny he selected 11 of them and he gave them the holy name of the Lord. In this way, on Radhashtami, he made the marriage of Mukunda and his wife Janaki that day, and in this way made first Vaishnava marriage in that United States of America with American peoples. Gradually he went to San Francisco, thereafter he moved to different parts of Europe. In this way his movement was growing and growing and growing till he was in the year 1972, 70 perhaps, he was in a mood to back to India to start the movement there. And he came back and he was coming from Japan, Tokyo to Calcutta airport, and therefrom he went to one Dasgupta's house. There he stayed few days, met his visitors, guests and family members, and guided his disciples how to meet publics or these members, and instructed them to have a small group of kirtan every day in the streets of Calcutta. Ultimately, he just started his journey to Navadvip because his desire that Bhakti Vinod Thakur had predicted, time will come when people, Vaishnavas of Western world and Eastern world will come together to chant the holy name of the Lord in that Sridham Mayapur. That is the day, successful day, that is waiting to be fulfilled by the attempt of this Abhay or Prabhupada or Bhaktivedanta Swami. So ultimately, at that time when he was searching for land, none of his god brothers are not cooperating with him. When he was just going to west to preach, none of his god brothers had given him any help or cooperation. Similar thing happened in Navadvip Mayapur. He was not able to get a patch of land. Ultimately, by the arrangement of Guru and Krishna, by the providential arrangement, he got Achyutananda with him, and he was also failed to get a patch of land. He prayed Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord Krishna, and he was became successful in his attempt getting a patch of land, which is now growing like a spiritual city. And ultimately, he brought all his disciples from all over the globe and local this people of this eastern horizon. They together chanted the holy name of the Mahaprabhu and observed Mahaprabhu's Panchasatavarshika festival, centenary, and very big festival in Gaur Purnima day. And in this way, he was successful in both West and East by fulfilling the desire of his most revered spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Gradually, he chanted holy name as well as toured the globe, giving questions and answers to his disciples, inquiries, and printing Srimad Bhagavatam till 10th canto, 13th chapter, and regularly giving question answer correspondence and teaching them about the Indian cuisines and making their lifestyle completely Indian Vaishnavatic way, having dhoti, tilak, bead and bald head, having a sikha, and Matajis with saris and tilak, and to how to decorate the Lord, how to observe festivals of the Lord, how to prepare nice prasadam for the Lord, how to just offer to the Lord with most love and affection their own preparations. Everything tidbit was from grassroots level till to the deity worship, deity festival. He explained them everything. Ultimately, he was again suffering from this heart attack, but by the crying and request with crying of his disciples, he prayed Krishna not to leave this world again, and he had continued his work. And in the year 1977, he was leaving his body, but by 72 he again back to India, going to Allahabad, Hyderabad, then to other parts of the Indian subcontinent to open branches and to fulfill the prediction of his small days period, this astrologers what prediction. And his last founded project is at Bhubaneswar 108, because the prediction was that he will open 108 branches all over the globe. So Bhubaneswar is his last founded project, 108th branch. And his very dear disciple Gaur Gobind Maharaj took sannyas from in the year 1975. The inauguration or opening of the Krishna Balaram temple at Ramanrati at Sridham Vrindavan with the deity installation of Sri Sri Gaurnitai, Sri Krishna Balaram, Sri Sri Radha, Shyam Sundar, Lalita, Vishakha. And in this way, he initiated Gaur Gobind Maharaj with name as His Holiness Gaur Gobind Das Goswami, and instructed him, go to Odisha, preach in every house, town and village, translate my books into Oriya, if time permits, go to the Western world and spread the signs of Jagannath consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Following the words, Gaur Gobind Maharaj preached accordingly and made Prabhupada popular all over the globe with no limit of time. Ultimately, Prabhupada, when he was becoming grave old, he was after laying down the this cornerstone ceremony of this Bhubaneswar temple, he came to Mumbai. Therefore he was moving to London. Where he was preaching in London, he again faced similar health hazard. So his disciple told, there is no good doctors in India, so we have to make your treatment in London because very famous doctors are here. The Prabhupada told, no, I don't want to remain in this world for a long time. Please take me back to my very most loving place, Ramanareti, the Krishna Balaram's holy pastime place. I want to leave my body there. Ultimately, they brought his sick body to Vrindavan, and Prabhupada became gradually very, very sick. And in the year 1977, 14 November, while he was narrating like Bhishmadev to Yudhishthira and Pandavas his last instruction, similarly Srila Prabhupada, while giving his last instruction to his disciples, sincerely to follow, to cooperate, to have dedication for this seva, and he was leaving his body in this way in the said year 14th November 1977. In this way, he left this planet at the age of 81, and he made such a big propagation of this Krishna consciousness with preaching centers, temples, farm community, and books. Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, which was in the 1972, it becomes the world's largest non-profitable book distribution organization. And in this BBT, he found that BBT having separate trust and separate body, and ISKCON he made some governing body also. They made quite good setup for administration at ISKCON, and at BBT level printing books and his literatures. He was very much concerned that his speech, his words, instructions, his Guru's instructions should spread all over the globe. Now his disciples, grand disciples are trying their best to spread it all over the globe, and mostly in Odisha it was preached by Gaur Govind Maharaj, who is the only sannyasi disciple of Prabhupada at that time, was trying his best and printed Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gita, all the small literatures, ultimately established Bhubaneswar ISKCON temple since its inception, with 14 years long time to finish all the project with installing deities, Gaurnitai, Krishna Balaram, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadramai, and making a regular monthly periodical and spreading holy name through Namat programs to Sankirtan bus programs, and Odisha people are gradually become conscious. And before Prabhupada left Bhubaneswar, he made 3 predictions to Gaur Govind Maharaj. Once this out of way place of Bhubaneswar, this area will become the central part of Bhubaneswar city. Secondly, by the able guidance of Gaur Govind Maharaj, this will be Bhubaneswar will be one of the best preaching centers of the world. Third thing, Gaur Govind Maharaj, you should not be worried about Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. You should do the deities of Krishna Balaram and Gaurnitai in Pras through Orissa artists, and Gaur Govind Maharaj followed it accordingly. And Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, you should not worry, Jagannath himself will come. Prabhupada told in the 1977, month of February, and his prediction came true in the year 1989, after 12 years. 1989, in the month of May or June, during Anavasar time of Jagannath, one gentleman came to ask which deity is to be installed, and ultimately his forecast was fulfilled, and the deity he donated to ISKCON, and the same deity were installed in the year 28th January 91, making Srila Prabhupada's big prediction to be really a true fact. And these are some of the important events of his divine pastimes. There are many things, many more to say, but we have to speak within limit period, with very much substantial, very much cream, and within a very gist fun. So we gave this much only. Jai Srila Prabhupada, the most exalted personality reviewer of the whole world, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, Srila Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.